green light, and away we go. We're going to take it nice and easy into turn 1 because, you know, we can, as the old saying goes, you can't win it into turn 1, but you can definitely lose it wide. We've made 3 positions there, really good there to start from us as we follow, which goes very defensive. The class racing comes into its own. Ooh. We've got the Glickenhaus and the Porsche. Always getting tangled up on GT traffic. Can we make up a position? We've got the Glickenhaus right on our inside. Hey, we get squeezed up against the wall. We're going to go around the outside of the Porsche. We just about have to get around the outside. We're going to push it over into the inside. But we hold on. And that is a beautiful second place out of absolutely nowhere. To another video here on the channel. We are back with episode 2 of My Drive Career here on One Ultimate. As you saw from that little intro, first race out, absolutely mental at Sebring. Crazy pit stops, racing through multi-class traffic, ended up with a nice P2 there. As we've got the standing on the board here from the first race out, we had Luke Duval winning the race, us coming in second, quite a way behind. Peugeot's doing really well, with De Resta coming through for a Peugeot 1-3. You see the Porsches and the Toyotas having not the best first race. Our teammate again being down in 10th place there. That means that going into the second race here at Portimao, we are second in both championships, both the teams and the drivers. We're doing a little bit of a different video this week out. Last week was a much longer one, more me driving and talking. This one is more of like a highlight, so as you can see we've got lots of off-board shots. We're going to be doing it, yeah, more as like a highlights that you've watched for F1 or whatever. Talking, you know, we've got on-board views, we've got off-board views. We're going to be talking through the race, talking about what's happened through the race. So it'll be about a bit of a shorter one, 50 minutes long, less technical, more action, and if we got an absolute masterclass of a race for you here today. But let's not spoil too much. Let's have a look as we watch our beautiful Ferrari 499P drive around the Portimao circuit. This was in qualifying, and here we have the results from qualifying. We have Dane Cameron in the Porsche number 5, having an absolute blinder and sticking it on pole position. A very close qualifying here. You see Paul Di Resta just a 10th behind in the Peugeot. Peugeot having another good qualifying position. Us in third, about a quarter of a second behind. Romain Dumas, who had an absolute stinker in the last race, getting stuck. But basically trying to get into the pits for about 15 laps, couldn't move anywhere. He qualifies 4th. We've got Albamba in the Caddy in 5th. Our teammate Alessandro Pierguidi in 6th. Then the first of the Toyota's not having a very good session here, down in 7th and 9th. Kevin Estre in 8th. And then we have Paul Di Resta's teammate in Luke Duval having an absolute shocker, not even put in the time on the board, but he will be there for the race. And I think Tom Dillman potentially isn't in this race. I'm not too sure. I thought he was, but then looking back at the recording, I don't actually think he is. But yeah, a good qualifying session from us, much better than our first race in the season. And if you did enjoy that first race in the season, and you are excited to see more of this, excited to see how the season unfolds, then be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, give me a comment down below if you're liking this new style of video. But with that all wrapped up, let's get straight into the race. Obviously we'll be starting third as we go on board with us. A very slow start here, very long section from where we started to the actual start-finish line. Felt like an eternity waiting for the Porsche of Dane Cameron to take off. You can see in the background, or in our little rearview mirror at the top, we've got the Cadillac right behind us, our teammate not too far behind, and we're just waiting an eternity for the lights to go green.
Green flag, let's go.
And finally they go green, and away we go for this hour and a half of Portimao. Dane Cameron of Porsche almost losing it there as we get squeezed to the inside. Roman Duma makes an absolute belt of a start going from 4th to 1st. We're absolutely everywhere on this track with these cold tyres as we come down to the tricky turn 2, I think this would be, or turn 3. Making slight contact there with the Cadillac. Not affecting our performance, but not ideal either. As you can see, we just can't get the traction down at the moment with these cold tyres. There's 3 wide behind us on the run down to this hairpin, and you see absolute chaos up in front, as well as the Peugeot and the Glickenhaus are scrapping for position. But we seem to have survived the opening part of this lap, dropping quite a few positions as we're going to try, I think, a cheeky move around the outside here of the Cadillac, as he gets boxed in a little bit by Dane Cameron, who's also lost out, and we make up a position up to 5th. Overall losing 2 positions here, but I think we're going to try and... Can we make it around the outside of the Porsche? Not quite, I don't think. We've got the Toyota looking at our inside. If we slightly run off track there, I think getting nudged slightly by the Toyota. And that will be our position at the end of lap 1. As we follow through this leading trail of cars through the final few corners. This Portimao circuit is a roller coaster, up and down, massive elevation changes as we come to the off-board view at the start. You see where the red Ferrari just behind this leading Porsche, waiting an eternity for the lights to go green, and finally they go green. We get pretty good reaction. I think the caddy behind us gets an even better one as the Glickenhaus comes across. You can see the Porsche almost loses it there and causes a massive incident in turn 1. We go 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide there. Another Porsche off in the background. Absolute chaos here at the start. We go down the inside of the Toyota and just, I think you can see it's there, touching the rear end of the Cadillac. We've just got slight damage, but nothing that's going to affect our performance. And we've got the Toyotas behind us battling. I think that's going to push them into the ramps of Luke Duval, going down the inside of 1, maybe 2 Toyotas there. Can he quite pull off the move? No, he can't. But we are here in 6th position, chasing the Cadillac, and you're about to see this move around the outside of Earl Bamber. Coming into this very slow and tricky section, he goes to the inside trying to overtake the Porsche. He kind of gets boxed in there, and we're able to just better traction, more speed around the outside, and pull off the move going down this, as you can see, this roller coaster circuit. So much elevation change as we then swoop back uphill, trying to make the move around the Porsche and Dane Cameron. You can see that the Toyota is just going to bump us there. Not doing any damage, just pushing us off track a little bit, and we maintain 5th position. Obviously dropping 2 from the start, not ideal. Dane Cameron drops positions as well. I think that inside line into turn 1 is not ideal. Get pinched quite aggressively. It's a lot easier to carry more speed around the outside, so we're going to have to claw our way back through this race. As you see us swooping onto the start finish straight for lap number 2. Absolutely magnificent track here at Portimao. So much elevation change, it really does feel like a roller coaster. As we come onto lap 3 now, chasing down Dane Cameron. Into turn 1, I think we're going to get quite a good run through here. Closing up onto the back of the Porsche number 5, as we're going to look, I think, for a move down the inside. We swap to the inside, Solomon, but for dummy, and make the move stick down the inside of turn 3 there. Up through the very tricky turn 4, we try and put the power down, and it looks like we're going to make that move stick. And on to the end of lap 3, moving on to lap 4, we now have our sights set on Paul de Restaurant ahead in the wingless Peugeot, as he's looking to overtake our teammate of Pierre Guidi. I think we're going to try and... Are we going to try and make the same move here? No, we're going to stick behind him and try and get a better exit through turn 4. As he makes a little mistake through turn 3, it allows us to capitalise through turn 4, getting the power down, accelerating down this mini straight into the hairpin braking zone. Can we make a move? Are we going to look for the inside? We look for the inside. Braking. Are we going to lock up? We go a little bit deep, and the Peugeot is able to cut back through underneath. It's going to open us up to the Porsche. No, we stick up behind the Peugeot, unsuccessfully making that move stick. But we're right on his tail now, right on his gearbox, trying to make the move, and we get boxed in a little bit, and it allows Dane Cameron to stick down the inside, and the Toyota, is that Buemi, I think, trying to make a move as well. But it's a drag race now, up and down the hill, or down and up the hill I should say, as we try and overtake, or keep our position around the outside of the Toyota number 7. We get squeezed on the exit, slightly going off track there, but we managed to keep it ahead of the Toyota, and that failed overtake on the Peugeot means that we lose the place at Dane Cameron. As we now move on to lap 12, as we're coming through the traffic now. So not really much happened during that little stint there. You see we got past the Porsche of Cameron, but now we come onto the back of GT traffic, getting right on the gearbox of that Porsche 911, coming through the fast right-hander. Not ideal. Peugeot manages to pull away a little bit. Down the straight we come, looking to try and gain that time back on the Peugeot into this fast first corner. We seem to be quite good into this turn 3 here. We seem to be quite good on the brakes as the Peugeot just finds itself trying to overtake the Ferrari GT traffic. He's going to be massively slowed down through turn 4. Is this our opportunity? We get a good run through turn 4. We're in the slipstream. It's a drag race down to the hairpin where we tried to make the overtake before. This time not too deep on the brakes. We keep it nice and easy, nice and tight there, and we get the move done past Paul di Resta and up into 3rd place, I believe that is now. As we're now trying to chase down our teammate a few laps later. Massive of traffic here. The joys of multi-class racing as we weave our way through the Porsche. The traffic of the Porsches here. We've got the Iron Dames car there, and then the Iron Lynx right ahead of it. As we are trying to use the traffic to our advantage as we go for an overtake here. Is it on our teammate? Cutting onto lap 13 here. We make it past another GT traffic, GT car, as we've got the Peugeot still looking to make its way past us. And here you can see Pierre Guidi kind of getting caught up a little bit behind the Aston Martin with the Peugeot. Peugeot makes an excellent move there down the inside, taking advantage of us being a bit slow as we go side by side up this fast left-hander. Can we overtake this Aston Martin around the outside? Looks like we can, as he comes back at us a little bit in the apex of the corner, but we may manage to get past him. I think here we're going to go for an inside move, diving down the inside and diving down the inside of our teammate there, almost crashing into him. And we get a little bit loose on the exit, but we manage to overtake the Aston Martin, put a car between us and the Peugeot. Not quite overtake our teammate, but we're coming on to the pit stops now anyway, so we pit on lap 16. This is us coming into the pits for our first of, I think, 2 or 3 stops. As you see later on in this video, the pit stops made or broke this race, depending on if you pitted a certain amount of times. But you can see post pit stop we're now up into second. Got about an 8-second gap to Dumar ahead. As we're then trying to battle the Toyota here on lap 27, so jumping ahead quite a few laps here. Basically we let Conway through quite early on in the stint to try and basically save fuel, because we realised that we pitted too early on that first stint. We were really going to struggle with our fuel usage to the end. So we've pitted here, I think just before sort of like the just before the 30-minute mark. Fuel does about 30 minutes, so we're now here trying to decide, do we again or do we just fuel save until the end? At this point, you know, we've lost quite a bit of time, down in 6th position. All the other teams have managed their fuel better than us, and I think at this point we're deciding, right, if we pit now we're going to lose a chunk of time anyway that we're going to have to make up and overtake these cars, so let's just try and fuel save, try and get to the end. And you see we've lost a lot of this gap. We're now, I think at the moment we're in 6th position, we've got a Peugeot behind us in 7th and our teammate not too far behind in 9th, so pitting really wouldn't have put us in a good spot. But the Peugeot gets an excellent run on us down towards turn 1. This is on lap 47. We're, you know, quite far off the pace, doing, you know, laps at 2-3 seconds slower to try and save as much fuel as possible to get us to the end of the race, because it's really marginal. But the Peugeot just gets pinched towards the inside and we manage to keep the position in 6th. And you can see on the left hand side Roman Dumar, who was in the lead of the race, has pitted. So has Mike Conway. And is this our chance? as we come on to the next lap, Cameron and Bamber are in the pits as well. They've all decided that they cannot make it to the end on their fuel usage, so they have done 3 stops compared to our 2 stops, and you hear there us massively lifting off to try and save as much fuel as possible. We've got a 30-second lead over Dane Cameron, but we are going significantly slow. You see in the top right hand corner, we're already 2.3 seconds down on our fastest lap. Absolutely lift and coast through these sections. We are trying to save as much fuel as possible. We've got about 5.5 laps left. But as we come onto the last lap, we managed to fuel save. You see it's very marginal. 1 lap of fuel left, or 1 lap of virtual energy left. And we are trying to make it through to the end on just 2 stops. Dame Cameron has pulled in 20 seconds in, what, 7 minutes of racing? Which is, what, maybe like 3-4 laps? But we managed to hold on and win our first race of the season here in Portimao. As our AI almost loses it, or does lose it, coming across the line. But we managed to pull an absolute blinder and win. Don't know how I did that. You know, we pitted sort of like 25 minutes into our first stint. Managed to stretch our second stint to about 30 minutes. But that was an absolute Ferrari masterclass. Ferrari normally aren't very good with their strategy, but we managed to point them in the right direction. Did masses of fuel saving in the second and third stint, and it meant that we came across with the win. As you can see, the cars that pitted again, heavily compromised. Romain Dumas went from, you know, winning this race to 10th. Again, I think there might be some issue with how these results are calculated. I don't know whether, because as we cross the line, Cameron was in second, and now it switched to a Ferrari 1-2. I don't know if they had a penalty. I don't know if they went over their virtual energy usage. I'm not quite sure, but an absolute blinder for Ferrari here. 1-2, which has done wonders for our championship. We now pull ahead of Luke Duval in the Drivers' Championship, as you see on screen there. It looks like it's a fight between the Ferraris and the Peugeots. Toyota having consistent races, but not consistently good racing. Is always around that sort of 5th, 6th position. You see in the Teams Championship, Peugeot still leading. So they've had more consistency than us. Pierre Guidi had quite a bad first race, but we do make gains on them. Only 5 points ahead. But that has been the 1.5 hours of Portimao. If you did enjoy, smash that like button, subscribe. Ready for the new content that will be coming for the next race in Spa. There are also going to be shorts out that are highlighting the best bits of this race, the best bits of the last race. And let me know in the comments what you prefer. Do you prefer the longer format where I'm talking through the race a bit more, giving a bit more technical context to WEC and racing in general, or do you prefer these shorter videos that are more sort of like race highlights? You let me know down below. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time for the 1.5 hours of Spa.